Hey there, it's Mackenzie, your host of Winning. We're looking for sponsors for the podcast. If you have a business that you would like to promote to thousands of people, send us an email at podcastwinning@gmail.com or send us a message on social media. I cannot wait to hear from you. Now on to the show.
Winning is your guide to making it in business. Join our award-winning host and entrepreneur, Mackenzie Kilshaw, and special guests in casual conversations that will educate and inspire you on your business journey. Winning will help you learn the hard lessons the easy way with guidance from celebrated entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's fun. It's informative. It's winning.
Hello, welcome to Winning. I am your host, Mackenzie Kilshaw, and today's guest is Mel Brandt. How are you, Mel?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. So Mel just told me it's 6 a.m. for her, and I'm feeling really fantastic that she's chosen to spend her morning recording the podcast. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's all good. Like I said, I've got children, so it was bound to happen sooner or later, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So Mel has created Lifestyle Industries. It's a lifestyle-focused digital agency using world-class software and strategy to boost your online presence, strengthen your brand, and automate 99% of your customer journey, which I am just like fascinated by this. I cannot wait to chat more about it. Yeah. But she basically wants to help you create the exact roadmap that your business needs to achieve success online. She's got years of building 6- and 7-figure online businesses under her belt, and her personal coaching is based on knowing how to grow a long-lasting, life-changing online presence with customers who will follow you wherever you go. And I think that is so important. So thank you for being on. This is going to be a great chat we're going to have. So I know that's a little bit about you and kind of what you do, but do you want to just give the audience a little bit more information? Kind of who are you and what does your kind of business do for people on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I'm a mum of 2 girls. We live in Brisbane, Australia, and I've been in the online space now for 8 years, and my business now, what I knew when I stepped into the online space, I don't know, when you just know things and you don't know how, but you just do.
Yeah, for sure.
It was in business. I just knew that I needed to, stand out. I needed to bring something to the table that not a lot of other people were doing. So my company allows people to either step into the online space. There's a few different facets that we tackle. They can either step into the online space and we show them how to build out a digital agency, or if they're already established and in business, we introduce them to ecosystem automation, which is the easiest way to put that is imagine your website, your courses, your membership areas, booking systems, anything that you would ever need online in one software. So that's a bit of a game changer. It allows everything to be completely seamless, but also allows for really smart scaling.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think like we live in a world of technology. Let's use it to our full advantage, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. We're gonna talk lots and lots about this coming up. Yeah. But how did you get here? Like, where did you start? How did you get to this space?
Oh my goodness. It feels like a lifetime ago, but I was working full time after baby number 2. And there was this girl that kept popping up on my Facebook. And, every time I saw her, she was having coffee with friends and she was going on holidays. And honestly, there was a little bit of me that despised watching this because I didn't have it, right? It was jealousy. And I thought to myself, I don't know what she does. And I'm a little bit worried to ask because what if she's a stripper or, I didn't want to.
It just comes to your head.
Like, oh my God. And that was my mentality, was that like, how can she have all this time freedom unless she's selling her body, or she's got a really rich husband, it was such a shame that I thought like that. The universe in all of its glory whipped me into line really, really quickly. And she basically, she was using attraction marketing. She was showing me things that I didn't have. To the point where I asked her what she did. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I ever had was seeing how she did that. I didn't feel pushed. I didn't feel sold to, nothing. And when I got to her, I was so goddamn ready to absolutely blow it up. And I didn't even know what I was doing. So she actually was in network marketing, and I sat back for about 6 months once I found out what she did. And I was like, no, I don't want to be one of those people. No, I'm not selling my friends and family. No, not interested. And then I just kept watching and watching. And, the results that she was showing, you couldn't deny, the proof that she was showing of her life changing, but she was changing. Like, she looked, this is going to sound crazy, but she looked like she was getting younger and younger and more vibrant. And I was like, whoa, I don't know what you're doing.
Not with you.
Yeah, so I dived in, and I had no idea what I was doing. But as a mum, the product made total sense to me. The business, I was like, oh, this is gibberish. I don't get it. I don't know how it works. I don't know how to build it. But I knew tons of mums that had kids, and I knew that the product was something that mothers needed to hear about. So naturally, I just started sharing, and before I knew it, things blew up pretty quickly. And I think about 6 or 8 months later, I was one position from the top of the company, and I built a global team. So much changed in that time for me. I had never, ever heard the word personal development. I came from a lineage of poverty mindset. Hence why I thought that she had to be a stripper to have money, because that was bred into me. I didn't know any different. I had a lot to learn. That journey for me, which, lasted probably about 4 and a bit years, that journey for me, I learned more about myself than I could have ever learned about a pay plan or how to recruit a team and, all of those things. So stepping into that space was my apprenticeship in the online space. I nailed attraction marketing. I nailed branding. I nailed my message and who I wanted to become. And then, it was probably about, like I said, that 4-ish years, I found myself in a really, really bad domestic violence relationship. And I had lost pretty much everything. The company was slowly going backwards because I wasn't putting the time into it. I'd lost myself. So how the hell do I, be a leader and train these people and show them what to do when I can't even keep my own life together? So, we had some really massive lessons there, and I ended up deciding to shut the company down because when I got my second wind, it was game on. And here we are now with Lifestyle Industries, and I had to rebuild from the ground up, but I came armed with some pretty amazing tools from that experience.
So you've had quite a few pivots or turning points then along the road.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was, like I said, I understood that not everything is forever. And,
right.
that journey for me ended because it was supposed to. A lot of people go, oh, why would you leave, earning thousands of dollars a month? And like, because you get to a point where you're made for more. And you get to a point where you go, hey, I can work smarter, not harder, and anyone that's listening, that's in network marketing will understand that, there is this stigma around it being time freedom and financial freedom. And, we buy into those things because we desperately want it. But when I got there, I realized that I wanted more, I wanted more freedom. I wanted more time, but also I'm a bit of a rebel and I really don't like rules. So I hated that I couldn't say certain things and, I couldn't share this. And that was a real problem for me because I knew that I needed to be able to tell people the truth. So I needed to be my own boss, basically. I was going to make way too many rules if I stayed where I was. So we did. We massively pivoted. But a big reason why I pivoted, like I said, was I knew I was built for more, but I had seen over those 4 years so many gaps in the online space. And the hardest thing for me was watching people give up on their dreams. So hard to speak to a woman one day and she's pumped. She's so excited about what's potentially possible. And then she asks her husband, who says, no, you can't. or she lets doubt creep in, or she tells herself, I can't do this, or she puts her children, what she thinks is first, but actually she's putting them last. So, so many of these things, and it was so incredibly frustrating that I thought, I'm going to take all of these gaps that I've seen. We've got leaders teaching us how to build businesses, but they're literally just working it out one chapter ahead of you. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's fine. And then you've got, gaps in the way that you do business, systems or lack of. And I don't know. It's like it all just kind of came forth for me. And I was like, whoa, I know exactly why people aren't succeeding online. And it's because there is an exact formula. There is, and anyone that says that there isn't is full of it. There is an exact formula. And I've proved this now 3 times over. So I started the network marketing company, blew it up, started this company, blew it up. I've actually started another one that has ended up in a super retail chain over here. So one of our really, really massive stores, equivalent to Walmart or Costco, and that wasn't an accident. Although I'm like,
yes.
Oh my God. It's not an accident, Mel. This is the 3rd time you've done it. So, and that's just putting those wheels in motion. The first time it took me 18 months to do it in total. The second time it took me 18 months to create a 6-figure business. The second time it took me 7 months to create 6-figure months. The third time round, it took us 2 years to manufacture the product, but it only took us a week to land that deal. And that's $250,000 shipment every single time. So it's absolutely insane. I don't say that to impress people, but to impress upon them that when you can work out the exact structure of what's needed, and these are all very different areas. You're talking network marketing, you're talking digital marketing, and then you're talking retail, very, very different areas. And I applied that same formula every time and have for hundreds of my clients, and it works. So this is why I'm so passionate now about sharing the power of what was the difference to go from 18 months to 7 months. What happened? What changed in that time was what I got obsessed with.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, you have the data, right? Like you have this data now to say this works. Oh, maybe there was something in that time that didn't work and you changed it or modified it or removed it or did whatever, and it sped things up for you.
Oh, there was so much that didn't work. And it still is, right? Like I don't want anyone listening and thinking that I'm this fairy godmother that just works and that works, right? But what happens is I've removed so much emotion now from doing business that I make smart decisions and I make quick decisions very, very quick. I don't even have time to think about it before I'm like, yep, let's do it. Right? Because if I don't jump, I've got 5 to 10 seconds before my brain's going to be like, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. Or what if it goes wrong? Right?
Yeah. So when you say that, and you said a few things now where I'm just in my head mindset, and I'm wondering, this is not even in the questions, but this is just like now coming to me. How much of what you do is your mindset and your positivity? I mean, when you said when you first started out, you kind of thought negative about how could that happen to that person, or if you are thinking about starting a business or doing something and people say, oh, you shouldn't do that, or like, are you sure that's going to work? How much of that really affected you?
In the start, in network marketing, it was like, oh my God, she said no.
Yeah.
It would floor me for days because, like, why wouldn't you want to do what I'm doing?
Do this.
It's changed my life, but I was moving at the speed of light. So I realized very, very quickly that not everybody's going to want to come with me. And I'm speaking to the people that understand. And the ones that don't understand, it's because they're not quite ready yet. So it's a blessing that they're not ready, because even if I skull dragged them with me, they're not going to get it. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So it just became really apparent to me that it was like, are you keen? Yes, no. Okay, great, let's go. You know, do you want to have a look at what I'm doing? Yes, no, let's go. You know, and you got to remember when I started, it was totally okay to be sending cold DMs to people saying that you were building a team of powerhouse women and you're looking for more and their profile looks amazing. It worked so well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So for me, that was my only focus every single day was, you know, who am I speaking to? How many people's lives can I, you know, I don't want to say change, right? It's a little bit cliche, but, you know, it's how many people need to see what I'm doing? Because for me, when I changed and I went into the network marketing, it allowed me to not have someone raising my children. You know, I didn't have to drop them to daycare anymore. You know, I bought my first really nice car. You know, I quickly became a single mum and still am now. And I've been able to provide the most amazing opportunities for my kids. But the best one out of that, apart from the Bali holidays that they thrive on now because they're spoiled, but, you know, the best part was that instead of being the parent that was like, you need to do this and you need to get a good job and you need to become a lawyer, I was like, do you know what you need to do? You need to learn high-paying skills in the online space and then you can do whatever you want. You
want, exactly.
And I got to show them what driven, motivated, and badass looked like, you know, and that was, they've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know, and teaching them entrepreneurship, I think, is probably the best gift I could have ever given them.
Yeah, I love that. I always talk about my career path and journey and whatnot. Came from a family of entrepreneurs in the 70s and 80s when that wasn't really a thing. I mean, people didn't often just be like, I have an idea and do it. And I didn't even realize when I was in high school and, you know, you're like, what are you going to do with your life? I didn't even realize being an entrepreneur was something I could do. I'm like, well, I have to go to school or get a job or get a trade or whatever it is, because that's how I'll make a living. And I did that. I went to university, I got a degree, I got a job, I got another job. And then I was like, why am I not doing this for myself? Became an entrepreneur. But I took, you know, not a long path, but a path where I think now you showing your kids, people listening to the podcast, whatever it is, they know if there's something that I love and I'm passionate about and I'm good at it, I can make that into my career.
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely.
It's life-changing.
My eldest, actually, she's obsessed with turtles. And at 6 years old, you know, she launched her first business. And this was before plastic bags were, you know, starting to kind of be removed. And she had these tote bags made and they had a big turtle on them. And, you know, I'm not quite sure how much, you know, I don't want to know how much of it mum funded. But anyway, it wasn't the point. It was the fact that she took an idea and she rolled with it. She then jumped on my Facebook, leveraged my audience being this cute little blonde kid. She told them all about what she was doing and why she was doing it and why they should jump on board. And I didn't help her with any of her speech, you know, to thousands and thousands of people globally. And she sold out overnight globally.
Well, that's wild. I mean, people spend months creating products and try to market them and never sell out. That's fantastic.
The reason she had success was because it came from the heart. She shared the story and she shared why you should get on board. And, you know, people were like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I back what she's doing? You know, and again,
awesome.
It was one of those moments I was like, wow, I should be taking notes right now.
Yeah.
It just came so naturally to her because, you know, if I said, well, what are you going to talk about? She's like, well, I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. And, you know, it's so crazy and it's so simple. But guess how many people out there aren't telling anybody what they're doing?
It's so true.
Yet they're upset that nobody's doing it with them. So, yeah, it's crazy and it's because we get in our own way.
A huge thank you to our sponsor, Just For You Day Spa and Wellness. Just For You is Canada's premier day spa with 5 locations in Alberta and Saskatchewan. The award-winning luxury spa features Leah Reese cosmetics and iconic Betty jewelry that you can also purchase online. Visit www.justforyoudayspa.com to book your service or to purchase a gift card. Yeah. And I think too, a lot of people, when they do start doing something and either they're trying to get people to know about them, or maybe they found some success, they don't want it to appear that they're maybe boasting or like, oh, look at me living this life, and that people won't like that, right? That will turn people off. But I think it's the opposite. I think the more people that know about you and your business and your lifestyle and everything, the more people that resonate with it.
100%. And, in the early days, I showed all of it, right down to, when I first got started, the money wasn't there. Like, how do you show the lifestyle when the money's not there? And I used to go into Pandora and I'd put on a ring and I'd take a photo and I'd be like, damn, I know where my next bonus is going. And people still got excited to come with me because I wasn't talking about my situation now. I was talking about where I was going. And then I'd buy the ring when I could, and I remember the first ring was $199 and I couldn't afford it. And I thought to myself, I'm going to work for that, and I did. I bought it and now it's something that my daughter wears. But, I think it's about, setting those little goals and remembering that the minute you put someone else on a pedestal, you put yourself in a pit because you think that you can do it. And
that's so true.
Yeah. And I think that has to stop because, I did it. I used to look at people and be like, oh my God, I'll never be like that, and now it's clients of mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
that's so true.
Mindset is huge. It's so huge. And the day that I realized the more money I invest in myself, the more this is going to grow was when the game changed. Whereas I think too many people are thinking, well, but if I spend that, that money's gone. It's like, no, it's not. It's
an investment, not an expense.
100%. So it's a big mindset shift, especially when you don't have the money. Especially when you don't have the money, it's scary. It's really, really scary. But if you commit to the end result and there is no plan B, how can it fail?
Yeah, that's true. I just received a book as a gift from someone called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've not read it yet. I will just preface this. I haven't read it yet, but it's a lot about mindset, and it's a lot about, I know at the beginning you talked about growing up and how maybe your family fought about money or success and how really it is all in our heads. Mm-hmm. It's all in our heads and how we think about money and success that we actually have money and have success, or we don't, right?
Yep, 100%. It's you are handed your parents' belief system, and if you shift that, you're going to be them. And that was enough for me to be like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to change that because, I watched my parents struggle. And still now, it has to change. And I think time is moving so quickly now that it has to shift even quicker than what it ever has, So, mindset, huge. It's an everyday job.
Agreed. I totally agree. Okay. I want to get into ecosystem automation. We talked about it at the beginning. This is your jam fully.
Yeah.
Your baby. So first of all, just let our listeners know what is ecosystem automation? Because they're probably like, what the heck are we talking about here?
Yes. And I love that because now I can share that with you. So ecosystem automation. So basically when you're moving into your business, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a website. You're going to need some email marketing. You need emails. Some people might go, oh, I have an online course. So what happens is you go and get WordPress for your website, and then you go and get like Klaviyo or something for your email marketing. You might jump into Kajabi for your online courses, right?
Yep.
And off you go, okay? Because why wouldn't you? But what nobody's teaching, and this was a really hard lesson, hence why I'm so passionate about sharing it. It had some really sore points in it, was that nobody told me that I needed to be making decisions from the woman that I was becoming, not the one that I was.
Yes.
And I was like, I need this and I need one of them and one of them. And then, we had some massive months, and it near on killed me because, there was, crazy things going on. There was, my systems weren't set up properly. And that's when I went, okay, wow, like this needs to change really, really quickly. So ecosystem came into the game really quite early on for me. And it was where I knew that there had to be a way to bring everything together, because all of those things work now. But if you're making decisions on the now and you're not building your company with your 5 to 10 year vision in mind, you've lost the game, because A, you're playing small, B, you're not working smart, and C, you haven't thought about what's going to happen when you scale, right? Whereas people go, oh, no,
Yes.
no, it'll do for now. No, it won't do for now, because when you get mid-flight and you've got clients coming in left, right, and center, the worst thing that you could ever do is stop your systems, pull them apart, and rebuild them. That will cost you your company. So it's about really getting people to understand that you need to do these things really early on. You also need to reverse engineer your ideal outcome. So this is why I ended up branding the company Lifestyle Industries, because I wanted to work with people that were really clear on the lifestyle that they wanted to create. So once you're clear on the lifestyle that you want to create, cool. There's a few options that you've got now with the business that you're going to build. Are you going to retire out of your business? Like, you know what, like who cares? You've got a team that might take it over. Are you going to retire out of the business, burn it to the ground? Who cares? You've done your time. Are you going to sell it, or are you going to retire into it? Meaning it's a well-oiled machine that you can just breeze in and out of as you feel the need, because you actually don't want to leave it, right? And that's what to be able to do. Now, if that's the case, and that's something that the listeners can ask themselves, like, what's your exit strategy? Because if you don't have one, you'll give yourself a full-time job. You actually won't be able to leave, because if you haven't set the company up correctly, it will rely on you as its blood source. So, and that's the short version of ecosystem automation, is getting everything that you need now. And it could just be really small, like you need a website and you need an email so people can email you. You need some email marketing just to send off some little bits and pieces. And you need a booking system, right? So that in itself would have been costing you probably close to, $500 to $1,000 a month in subscriptions all over the place, right? So again, it's about working really smart, lowering the costs. So especially when your company's new, you need to be lowering those outgoings so that you can then afford to be putting more money into the company to grow. But also you need to be setting it up really smart, because you know what your end result is, and that's what you're working towards. So the ecosystem allows you to start off really small and have your website, your courses, your emails, your booking system. But then there's over 47 applications inside the software that allow you to go into text message marketing and chat bots and, all this crazy stuff. So I've continued to be able to scale my company very, very quickly, because I'm not worried about learning how to get this to talk to this, and how do I use the system, and oh great, I've got another subscription that I need to sit here for 4 days and work out how to use. I don't need to do any of that, because it's all in one place. I don't have any problems with things not connecting or disconnecting. Zapier, it's not, I don't have any of that, because everything inside those 47 applications all work together seamlessly.
Works.
So,
and and unless you've lived through this, you don't understand how important this is. First of all, your exit strategy. I literally I had a brick and mortar clothing store. I opened for business. And on my second week, someone asked me what my exit strategy was. And I was like, I just opened. Like, what?
I just want to make money.
Yeah. And then your first few months or year, you just want to keep your doors open, right? So you're right. You build the website and you're like, we can do a better website later, or we can add that on after.
Yeah.
But what you don't realize,
Now, I just need
exactly.
something. Yeah.
Just need something to get going. And what you don't realize is, you're right. When you start adding all of these independent systems or applications or whatever they are onto what you currently use, you're now managing how many things? Tons. They're all different. They don't talk to each other. It's time, right? It's so much time.
But also, you've had to become a website expert. You've had to become an email marketing expert. And if you aren't, you've had to hire one.
That's right. Yes, you're paying someone.
Yeah, you need a website expert. You need someone that can build your booking system. You need somebody that can build your online courses, checkouts, chat bots, all of these things. Like, you're going to need someone to come in and do that for you. And then obviously you've got the cost of paying them. You've got the cost of paying for the subscriptions for these as well. But what I've seen happen is, again, when somebody has a massive influx of new clientele because you hit jackpot and you got your audience right, what happened was that $100 a month subscription, because of the amount of subscribers that came through and the amount of new enrollments that they had, it went up to almost $5,000 a month to keep running, right?
Yes.
What's your choice but to pay the money? Because if you don't, they'll pull your whole system from underneath you. So you've got, it's lack of control as well, I think, is the big piece. So, that was a huge gap that I saw in the online space was, leaders that were getting to $10,000 or $20,000 months, and everything was great. But in order for them to scale, they needed to work more. Because they didn't have a system that would allow, the system wasn't doing any of the heavy lifting for them. So that was a huge, huge lesson. So that then pushed me to, okay, well, if I've now got the ecosystem, how do I now double the amount of people that are seeing this ecosystem? That was a big piece. And that's where, AI for organic lead generation came in for me as well, and completely changed the game.
Yeah. It's like, just when you've got one thing figured out, the next thing comes along.
Yeah. But I think, for us, we've been doing AI now for 2.5 years before AI was the new black,
It's cool. Yeah.
So I love that, I feel like I got a massive head start, huge head start in that game because, I was able to test and measure while people were still being what's the word? I mean, people were still like, oh no, like AI is not, like, I'm not going to use it in my business. Oh, I'm not using AI. I'm not doing it, and I'm over here like, learn it, quick, and then by the time that everyone went, oh, all right, I'll jump on the bandwagon, I was like, I'm already 100 steps ahead, and
you're already going.
Yeah, but you can't do that. I think people are applying that same mentality to everything and they're jumping on every bandwagon. They've got shiny object syndrome. And, it's really about like doing your research and making sure that, is this going to benefit my end result? Is this going to help me get to where I'm heading faster? Is it going to help me collapse time? Is it going to help me reduce costs? Is it going to, all of those things, and I think a lot of people go, oh no, but I'm killing it now. I'm having this success and I'm abundant. Whereas I massively believe that abundance is actually being really, really, really strategic, not necessarily smart with your money. Like, you can definitely make some crazy purchases and, do wild things, but you've got a strategy behind why you work the way that you do, which allows real abundance because, you're not just wasting it, throwing it out absolutely everywhere for no reason.
Yeah. And as you talked about before, you know where you're going. Yeah. You know what your strategy is. So, right? Are you writing out your business? Are you selling it? Are you one day just that's it? You know what direction you're going into so that you can make decisions based on that. Yeah,
100%. Otherwise, you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and you're just hoping to God that it sticks. And when it doesn't stick, it's going to hurt you because you'll be mid-flight earning money by then. And anything that stops you or slows you down is going to hurt you for quite some time. You know, you stop an early business in its takeoff phase for a week, it'll hurt you for a month. You know, like you have a few months worth of money in the bank to float your company while you go and pull it apart and rebuild it now with your CEO hat on, with your knowing what your end result is, and with your mindset that you now make decisions from the woman or man that you're becoming, not the one that you are now. And I think if you can get all of those three things right, you'll be fine.
So for people listening that are like, okay, I need to do this, I need to automate, I need to figure this out now. Either they're just starting out or they're in business and they're like, oh boy, I need to backtrack to do this. How do they develop these systems in their businesses?
So, I mean, look, it's probably not something that people could just go out and do themselves. I definitely recommend having guidance on that. I don't actually really know of anyone else in the world that's doing this on the level that we've been able to successfully deliver for our clients. So, you know, I think it's really about, again, you need to know what it is that you want to create, because otherwise you're gonna be, I need this, and this is an automated system as well, you know, and you'll probably get shiny object syndrome with that as well. So I think it's about sitting down with somebody who knows what they're on about, who knows what this looks like, and really crafting out a strategy that's your personal blueprint, because how your business is built is going to look different to mine. So that's the key, is don't go and look out there at what Susan's got, because Susan's system might not match your end result. And I think, you know, there's way too many people out there that are giving advice, especially in Facebook groups and things like that. Oh, I need a system, you know, that can help me with my online courses. Oh my God, go to Kajabi, get Kajabi. I've got Kajabi. Everyone's like Kajabi, right? Because they've got amazing marketing. They've got millions and millions of dollars to be throwing at their marketing.
Think of their name.
So everybody goes, well, this must be the best. Well, no, right? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But have you made the decision based on your end result? Or are you making the decision on 40 people that have recommended it in a Facebook group because they don't know any different?
That's right. Yep. And it's so funny too, because we talk so much about when you aren't sure what to do, it's help from someone that does know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, that's so important. I'm not doing my taxes. I have an accountant to do my taxes. There's a reason, right? Because they know what they're doing. So for me to try to figure out what system I need and how to do it, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I think people are scared to invest, you know, but I'd have to pay for that.
Yes.
You know, so straight away, they've already made the decision before they've even given themselves time to actually, you know, sit with it is, but I'd have to pay somebody and I don't have any money, you know, and it's like, well, again, you've already lost the game with that mindset. So, I mean, I didn't have the money for my first, you know, investment either. I begged, borrowed and stealed for it, you know. It was like, I have to do this. I have to make this happen, you know, and now investing is like, oh, it still hurts, you know, because your investment starts to get larger and larger. But, you know, I've never seen an investment that I have made, even the ones that I thought really, I was like, oh my God, that course was really shitty. I've never, ever invested and not had some type of lesson. Even the course that was shitty taught me the program and the structure that I would never put into place inside my company. It taught me what really bad customer service looks like. It taught me what really bad leadership looks like. You know, that was probably one of the best investments that I ever made. Did I learn what they were teaching me? No, not at all. You know, but the lesson that I got out of it was a lot more valuable. So I think that too many people think, well, what if it doesn't work? You know, and again, like if you back yourself and there is no plan B, then it's not an option. We don't even speak about it because it's not an option.
It's so funny about learning lessons. Some people say it failed, but I'm like, but what you learned from that will actually likely help you out more.
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
100%. I mean, I can't tell you how many face down moments. I only had one the other day. I was in tears. I was like, I don't know what to do. It's all apart, which is crap, right? It's this story I was telling myself. Oh my God.
In your own head.
Yeah, if this doesn't happen, it's going to end me and blah, 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 right? Like, sleep it off, Mel. Sleep it off. But it still happens, and like I said, you start to make bigger investments and, some really scary decisions, and scary doesn't need to be big or expensive. Scary is whatever the hell scares you in that moment. But I think for me now is that I look at that and go, why do I feel this way? Like, what's making me feel okay? Because I don't think that I can execute. Have you executed, Mel, on absolutely everything you've ever put your hands on? Yes. Did it work? Yes. Okay, cool. So how true is it? So one question that I always ask myself in that moment is this true?
Yeah. And we go right back to mindset.
Yeah.
Facts. Did it work before? Did it not work before? Move along, right?
It's the only thing that's going to pull you through is having that unbreakable mindset. That's what's going to get you the success that you're chasing, because it's going to get hard. It's going to hurt. People are going to hurt you. Not physically, but people, friends. Friends. All of a sudden, you definitely have less. I heard somebody say, it's a lonely journey to the top, and I agree. I do agree. And whereas I have other people that go, oh my God, no, it's not. And I think it's about looking at the quality as well, and as you start 100%. To grow, you really do start to change what your circle looks like. And it's not because you think that you're better or any of those things. It's because you start to not hold space for a certain energy, because you understand how important it is. The people that sit at your table, you're going to be most like the 5 people that sit at your table. And when somebody said that to me the first time, I was like, who sits at my table? And then I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Holy.
Everyone.
I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do some shuffling, right? Because I had the friend that she was crazy, right? This woman was so much fun, crazy, but she was a massive drinker. She had no goals, she was in a rut. She was in a world of pain. And when I looked at myself, I was like, wow, you were doing the same stuff, So there was lots of little lessons along the way where it was like, Mel, you need to stop drinking. And that wasn't something that was, an immediate, right, I've got a business now, I need to stop drinking and I just need to stop being fun. And like, no. And I realized that it's costing you more to have a day where you're laying in bed and you can't be bothered doing anything.
Can't do anything.
That's costing you thousands and thousands of dollars. So I think over time, if you're really anchored into what you want to create, you will become a better version of yourself every single day, because you'll start to realize the things that you need to put down.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm no scientist, but it is kind of scientific if you think of who you surround yourself with and the people that you do things with. Yeah. If you associate with a group of people that are very active, then you're active and you're out doing active things. If you associate with people that are partying, you're partying, right? Like if that's who your friends are, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you do change when you have a business, because you like to have fun, but your priority really isn't partying. It's the next level of your business, or it's personal development, self-development, whatever it is. And then that's who your people are, the people that are doing the same things.
But it's the end result. You now know what the end result is. And humans have herd mentality. I mean, you've only got to look at the online space, right? Somebody brings out an email marketing business where you just have to email people and you get paid. It's herd mentality. All these people rush into this opportunity that's online. There's one at the moment that people are probably seeing about digital marketing courses that you can sell for 100% profit. Again, herd mentality. People are running at it. I actually had a girlfriend ring me yesterday and she goes, what do you think about this email marketing stuff? What do you think about these digital course stuff? And I was like, What are you asking me? She said, well, like, do you think it's legit? And I said to her, I always have my blinkers on, like the horses wear. I always have my blinkers on. And if I'm going to create a product that creates 100% profit, that's because I created it, not because somebody gave it to me. So standing in your own lane, I don't watch TV. I couldn't tell you how many years it's been that I don't watch TV because I'm not interested in the herd mentality. And that is huge. When you get to that space where I don't care what people are clicking on and getting paid for in the online space, because I know what's real. I know what makes money. And I know that if you're constantly looking for the next shiny thing and the next instant gratification and the next little thing that's it's going to get you $500, again, you've lost the game, because it's not long-term thinking. You're not building a legacy. You're not building an exit strategy. And what will happen is you'll constantly up and then you're down again and then you're back up again and then you're down again. I mean, that's a sure way to give yourself PTSD, right? Is to have where you're like, oh my God, right? It's like business bipolar, where you're, oh yes, I'm doing so good. And what will happen is your nervous system will start to mesh to that, and you will start to feel good when things are good and bad when things are bad.
Things are bad.
And it's really about finding that level playing field, because I'm level, I'm content, because I know where I'm heading. I know where I'm heading. Blinkers are on. I don't care what Susan's doing. I don't care what courses people are building and how they're building them. I know what my end result is. So I know what's right for my company. And I think that's the piece that a lot of people really need to start tapping into, is what's right for your company. Don't worry about all the noise, and there's a lot out there. So finding your feet and finding your power in that will change the game.
I love that. I always think of that or call that staying in your lane. Yeah. Like, I don't need to go over to this lane because that's not for me. I need to stay in my lane because I know where I'm going and I know how I'm going to get there.
Yeah, and that lane takes you there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to get in a lane to go to California, that you need to go to LA, right? You're not going to be in I don't even know. I'm probably talking about two completely different ends of the country, right? I'm not geographically smart. But yeah, it's like, when you get up in the morning and you take your kids to school, there's a certain route that you take to get them to that end result. And it's exactly the same with your company. It's really no different.
It is. That's fantastic. Are there challenges in developing these systems? Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe that's your biggest challenge.
The challenges that I see people have is making the decision to do it, the investment to do it. Not really. I mean, if you try and do it by yourself, oh man,
yes,
that's going to be that. I'm not even going to lie. That's going to be a gnarly trip for you. It depends. If you're super techie, you might work it out. But I think one of those challenges is what I see is people go, yeah, I want it. Yeah. This is exactly what we need to do. Yes. But when they are in a container where somebody holds you accountable every single week, and we're building foundations, we are laying the concrete for the goddamn Eiffel Tower, right? And somebody's holding you accountable, like, I need you to go and get this for me, and we need this documentation, and we need to sit down and write your bio and your mission statement, and all these things. People are like, whoa, this is a lot, So I think one of the challenges that people have to move past is, well, how bad do you actually want it? Because you say you want it.
Yeah. Are you willing to put in the work?
That's it. That's exactly right.
I saw a very interesting LinkedIn, I think it was, post where someone had given their company it was a mentorship kind of coaching company, had given their company a bad review. And saying, you guaranteed us results and it didn't work.
No.
And they actually had not a rebuttal. It wasn't directly to that, but just saying, we were there to help you, but we require you to put the work in. We require you to come to meetings. We require you to do the homework, do the research. And if you're not willing to do it, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And of course, common sense, right? If I'm not going to do the work to become a fitness model, I'm not going to become a fitness model. So it's the exact same in your business. You have to do the work.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely a lack of responsibility when people get to that place. You know, if it didn't work or they didn't get the results that they wanted, who can I blame? It's like, just look in the damn mirror, because you know, that's who needs to take the blame for it. So, you know, I'm lucky because, you know, ecosystem automation isn't really something that people dive into that aren't ready, if that makes sense, you know. And then, you know, we have people that are like, oh my God, this is, you know, big to build. But, you know, I don't do fear marketing. I don't push people into sales. I don't do any of that. So when my clients come on board, it's because they reached out to me and they were like, we're ready. You know, what you do, and we're ready. So I'm really, I'm not going to say I'm lucky for that. I mean, that's how I frame my marketing. I'm very open in saying I only just put a post up yesterday on Facebook that said, I have to find it, but it was something like, I don't hold space for that. I don't hold space for that mindset that, you know, how much is your program? Well, if that's how you're going to make your decision on your future, you're not right for the program. If the only thing that matters is how much it is, then it's not right for you, because people inside this program are making waves, you know, because of what they're building out. So, yeah, I think it's about how you market, and I'm not scared to say to somebody, I'm sorry, but you're not somebody that I want to work with. I'm not afraid to say that. And that's for their own good. They probably hate me for it, but it's for their own good, because I'm not going to take their money when I know that their mindset's not there yet, and they're coming from a place of scarcity or lack. And they need to get in because I need this program to work. You know, like, I'm not a lead generation company. You know, I'm not, you know, going to go and get you 50,000 leads in a week. Like, that's not what we do. We build you foundations. So I think it's, you know, standing in your power as the business owner, because at the start you will work with absolutely anybody, because you're like, oh my God, you know, I'm starting my business. Like, yes. What's your niche? Everybody, you know. So over time, you know, you get really, really picky. And again, I knew my end result. And I remember, I don't know who I said it to, but I remember saying, I just want to work with people that do cool shit. That's what I want to do. And now, you know, we have race car drivers, we have helicopter companies, we have motocross companies, we got hotels. So I'm forever in the air, on the ground racing, or staying at lavish hotels. But, you know, again, I knew who I wanted to work with. So it's a very cool place when you're excited on a Monday because the people you get to hang out with during the week.
I think the whole episode could be breaking up with the client, or like you say, that's a whole episode on its own, because people are afraid of it, but at the end of the day, it's in both of your benefit.
Yeah, and I think also with offering payment plans and things like that, but if I offer them a payment plan, they'll come on board. But if you are too lenient and there's no buy-in, A, they're not going to pay you every single week. B, they're not going to show up because they're not really losing much money anyway. So hence why, you know, and again, even for myself, you know, the larger investments, it makes me go, well, are you going to do the work?
Yeah, of course. The more you're on the line, the more you're putting into it, right?
100%. Yeah. And that's a winner's mindset. That's a success mindset, because then you go, you know, take my money. Take $50,000 for a program, because I know that I'll turn it into $550,000, you know, and you start to really get, well, I don't know, maybe not everyone does, but I start to get like, come on, man, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Show me what you've got, you know, because I'm not going to back out. So if they tell me that we're going to get these results, then I'm all in.
You're in. Exactly. I love it. Mel, do you have a most important lesson that you can share with people?
Most important lesson. Oh, Mackenzie, I feel like this is a whole episode.
I always say it's the most loaded question you could ever ask.
Oh my God, and the emotions that come up with that. My most important lesson is, and I'm talking in business. Let's put it in a basket, in a bracket. My most important lesson was that my business was only ever going to be as big as me. That's the biggest one for me, where like, what am I going to do? How am I going to grow? The limiting beliefs that come up, how are you going to move through those? Who's in your tool belt is a really good one.
Yes.
So I like to think of it like I have this little tool belt and I actually have humans in it, right? And when I'm doubting myself, I'm going to grab her. And when I need some more strategies because this one's not working, I'm going to grab him, you know? That for me was a big realization that I couldn't, and you know, I was doing what every woman does, you know, serially body shaming every time I walked past the mirror, you know, all of those things. And, you know, a lot of people don't think that that's linked to business, but it definitely was, because if I couldn't love myself and I couldn't come from a place of content inside myself, how the hell was I going to help people create that? And I think there's, like I said, there's a lot of noise out there at the moment. And there's a lot of coaches that are claiming that they're going to be able to help you get X, Y, Z. Meanwhile, in the back end, you know, their life is in absolute turmoil. So I think you just have to be so smart about the decisions that are made, because that was a big one for me. As soon as I realized that I had to go all in on myself, that's when things shifted.
I usually ask one thing you wish you had known, but I think this is it. Right? Believing in yourself, maybe.
Yeah. None of the rest matters. Your strategy, your system, your ecosystem, none of it matters unless you're ready to grow. And growing doesn't just mean your bank account. You are going to have hard conversations. You're going to have to look in the mirror. You are going to have to own so much stuff. You know, that, you know, it's you. Everything is you. Your business isn't working, it's you. Relationships, it's you. You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, oh, but, you know, bad things have happened to me. Yeah, great. That's still you. You're still choosing to stay in that place. You're still choosing to vibrate at that level. So, you know, I think that was there's been some tears in that one, that's for sure. So, yeah, I think that wraps up both of those questions.
I agree. I love your answers. So thank you. Yeah. I know people are going to want to know more and learn more from you. Where is the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so if they head to my website, which is www.lifestyleind.com, you can actually get 14 days worth of free coaching. So it's like Mel in your inbox every day. I get called the Velvet Hammer. It's like, I love you, but I'm going to kick your ass at the same time.
I love that.
Loads of freebies on there. You can tune into my podcast, or you can book a completely free strategy session where I'll take a look into your business and give you some tips and tricks on what you could do.
That's awesome. I'll also do some social media posts. We'll have links to your website so people can find you. Mel, thank you so much. This time went by so fast. It's almost been an hour. I don't even know how that happened, but thank you so much. I really appreciate your intuitive brain on all of these things. And I know that it's definitely something that if you have a business, you got to go check Mel out. So thank you, Mel. And for everybody listening, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Winning. Be sure to subscribe to get all of our new episodes. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media and leave a rating and review wherever you listen to Winning. To catch all of the latest from us, you can follow Winning Podcast on Instagram at winning_podcast, Facebook at Winning Podcast, and on Twitter at Winning Pod. Winning was created and is produced by me, Mackenzie Killshaw. Music created by Summer Furby. Editing by Seth Armstrong. Special thanks to Shauna Foster for voicing our opening. And of course, a huge thank you to this episode's guest. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.